Do you guys remember when I made this thing? Well, I didn't make this thing. Punished Props made this thing in a collab where I designed the JAZZA'S and they built it. This video doesn't have anything to do with this. I just wanted to show you this to give you some context as to how excited I am to do another collab with the folks over at Punished Props. Today, however, is going to be a little bit different. They're going to make me an entire costume and I am so excited. G'day ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Draw with Jazza. I'm Jazza and today I am designing a superhero outfit and Punished Props are going to build it. Now, if you don't know about Bill and Britt over at Punished Props, I can't recommend you check them out enough. And not only that, if you're interested in how amazingly they put all this stuff together, they are artisans of the highest order. These are a couple of their books, the Foam Smith series, where they teach in detail how to build your own props and guns and costumes. So if you're into cosplay, you probably already know about them. But if you want to get into it or create your own epic, insane, cool stuff that you can hold and show off, they are the guys to go check out. So go subscribe to their channel. You're going to see a lot more of them in this video and a follow-up video later when we reveal the outcome of our design today. So onto the agenda for this video. Now, as many of you know, I'm obsessed with virtual reality and that I even work with the guys over at Live to create mixed reality videos, which just looks insane. It puts me green screened through a virtual and a real camera into virtual reality. And it's really incredible, but there's just something niggling in my brain. There's something when you watch mixed reality content that says they're wearing jeans and a t-shirt. It's cool content, but it doesn't look as cool as virtual reality is. So I had this crazy idea where I thought, do you know what would be cool is if I were like a superhero character, if I as the V-artist had a persona where I could enter virtual reality and create anything with the help of my super suit. So I approached Bill from Punished Props and said, hey Bill, want to collab? And he said, sure. In all seriousness, he was very receptive to my concept and sounded excited by it. So what I thought I would do today is create a design and take them to Bill and get his feedback as to what's feasible, what's doable, what he thinks would work. Further to that, I thought it would be really cool to create this costume in virtual reality. So let's jump into the creativity. The first thing I did was draw a silhouette of a person to sort of ground my thinking in the practical needs of the project. On the silhouette, I used a red pencil to shade in areas that I knew would need a lot of flexibility and freedom of motion. Then the blue areas represent where I can afford to have some broader areas of mass added in the form of foam pads or straps. You see, while I can't wait to wear a superhero costume in VR and create mixed reality videos, the reality of filming in virtual reality and creating art is that the artworks take anywhere from 4 to 8 hours and sometimes more to complete. That's a lot of time and a lot of full body movement, so the costume needs to be flexible, durable, and comfortable. With that as a reference, I play with a few concepts, erasing and sketching as I go until I settle on a few design traits that I know I want in the final costume. I thought it'd be cool to have a big glowing V on the chest. I am going to be the V artist after all, and I kept the pads and armor designs neutral with simple shapes and clean geometry to tie in with the designs of most VR headsets. The costume should, after all, be visually cohesive with whatever VR headset I happen to wear. I also thought it would be cool to add some paint canisters on the back of the costume with tubes that suggest of feeding the paint through the armor. The idea being that the V artist uses his suit to pump virtual reality arty materials through to his arms so he can sculpt and paint anything he wants in any dimension he happens to be in. With the concept solidifying, I move on to a more refined concept sketch and block out the shapes and straps as I imagine them working. But how I imagine them in my head might be entirely different from what is actually possible to, make. So with my concept put together, it was time to take it to the man himself for some input. Why, hello there, Mr. Duran.
Oh, hey!
Fancy seeing you here. Okay, are you scared? I'm going to show you what I got so far. We have paint canisters on the back. So what I was thinking with these, if you have light from the inside, so they look like they're glowing things of paint, there are tubes that go from the side arm things into the forearms. And the idea is that it's feeding sort of paint and art materials through the arms. So as I paint and sculpt and create things, it sort of makes sense visually. That's the idea.
I like it.
You like it?
Yeah.
That's good.
I do, yeah.
I imagined on the left arm we could have some sort of panel that glowed, that looked like a monitor but isn't functional in any way, shape or form. Basically in all these VR programs you have your palette nearly always in your left hand, and I wondered if that would look sort of like it was part of this palette system or whatever. And then on the right arm having this thing that could look a bit like an applicator of sorts.
This is all very doable.
Is it? My heart is just like lifting. I was thinking you have like a utility belt, and attached to that you could have like a little butt flap and side cape things. Because if I'm wearing spandex, we don't want to torture too many people.
Oh, it's fine. Butt capes are in fashion now anyway.
That's what I thought. We could like put a flux capacitor on the back or something. All right. Well, I'm amazed. I'm going to head off and make this thing in virtual reality. Thank you so much for your time and your feedback, man. You're a legend.
You're welcome.
With the go-ahead from the man himself, I took my rough sketches into Photoshop to use as a reference to create the final concept sketches as a base from. So I used an image of the shoulder pads Bill suggested as a bit of a visual base for my sketches, and while I felt I had a cool design, I still played around with some alternatives and messed around with different ways that the V could be integrated into the chest. Also played around with how I could incorporate a hex-shaped base in the chest, which I think looks cool and alludes to sort of tech and games in general. I ended up with something similar in the end to my initial design, but with the addition of some vents around the hex behind the V as an interesting design element, and a shape that could possibly represent the letter A in the word artist. Next, I go through the rest of the design, building up the armor chunk by chunk, being flexible with my sketch until I rest on something solid. Eventually I get to the legs, where I paste in images of the shin guards we'll be using and build my armor design additions around them. I couldn't add too much mass to these since when I paint in VR, I tend to get on my hands and knees a lot, so the shin guards themselves are gonna need to be practical and useful. I duplicate the armor design and flip it and chop it up to properly represent the rear of the armor, and sketch in the details for the back. From the paint canisters to the tubes, and with both the front and the back done, I create masked sections of color in layers so I could quickly change colors of entire sections of the costume all at once to get the right color scheme together. The key with colors in this armor is that there must be no green, since I'll be often green screening myself into VR, which also means that there must be no reflective surfaces as well. In the end, I settled on a black spandex bodysuit base with dark and mid-tone steel grey padding. There are a few desaturated blue sections and a few eye-catching design features in the paint canisters on the back that will glow from the inside, as well as the glowing V of the chest and glowing features on the arms. The only thing I have left to do is take this design and make it a virtual reality. Get it? Because virtual, but it's not a reality, but we're making it a reality. I'm gonna make this thing in VR, okay? I open up Tilt Brush and import a low polygon figure of a man that I purchased from a random 3D website, and I use that as a base on which I could paint my design on armor feature pieces around, starting off by aligning the figure with the ground and the mirror plane in Tilt Brush and pinning it in place so that all the details and sections that I paint and add will line up and sit in the right places on both sides. With that set up, then I bring in my reference sketches in VR and pin them on either side of the figure so that depending on where I stand, I can see the reference for the area that I'm painting. Slowly but surely, I paint in the armor and I use my original reference designs to keep everything as accurate as possible to my initial sketch. Obviously, it's a really loose way to conceptualize something in 3D, but it's really fun and a very relaxed and organic experience without needing to know all the technicalities of 3D modeling. Slowly but surely, I add in straps and details and the armor panels with the end goal that, of course, after creating this 3D concept piece, I could export it and hand it off to Bill so he would have a carefully crafted three-dimensional representation of the epic V-Artist armor to work with. Now is the time, ladies and gentlemen, to go head over to Bill and Britt's channel, Punished Props, click the link in the card or in the description, and you can go watch them build the V-Artist costume right now. It's the most incredible montage I've ever seen, although some people might call me biased in that opinion because, you know, they're building my suit. I guarantee you'll be entertained and inspired too. While you're there, of course, make sure to go subscribe to Punish Props. They're so talented and fun to watch, and there's more of this project to come too, with the later video they're gonna make on lighting and painting this epic costume project. Thank you so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you had fun. I had loads of fun, especially going through the different mediums, starting on paper, then going through digital art, and having a refined final concept in virtual reality, a 3D model that they can follow. It's just so cool, and also shows that VR is a very practical use of art, and the V-artist in the future may explore a lot of that. But only time will tell how that will unfold. That's it for now, ladies and gentlemen, and until next time, I'll see you later. Make sure to subscribe to my channel to see more of my videos. And while you're at it, check out my shop where I sell ebooks, brushes, photo references, video courses, and more. There's another video you might enjoy from my channel over there, and you can also check out my behind the scenes daily vlog channel, Daily JAZZA. That's it for now, and until next time, I'll see you later.